Today, I shall dwell on Unit 3 of Block 1 Management Concepts, where I will be dealing with levels of management, whether management is a science or an art, the levels of management, top, middle and lower, management skills, the technical, human and conceptual skills. See, organization is primarily a systematic arrangement of people brought together to accomplish some specific purpose. It applies to all organizations, whether profit or non-profit organizations. And the managers work in these organizations. The common characteristics of any organization is that it has a goal, there is a structure and there are people working for the organization. So, every organization has a specific purpose, it has a vision, mission statement and it constitutes members who work for the organization as against a structure. So, there will be a systematic structure. So, the purpose of an organization is expressed in terms of goal or set of goals. Within the organization structure, its employees would try to achieve these goals. Then, what are the levels? You see, not all employees are at the same level. We can categorize the organizational members in two ways. We can call them as operatives and then categorize them as managers. Operatives work directly on a job or maybe a task and would have no responsibility for overseeing the work of others. Whereas managers direct their activities of other people within the organization. They are usually classified as top, middle or first line managers. They supervise both operatives and lower level managers. So, the first line managers supervise the day-to-day activities of the operative employees. The middle level managers represent the level of management that is between the first line managers and the top management. And these managers translate the goals of top management into specific details that the lower level managers have to perform. And the top managers are the key decision makers. They take decisions about the direction in which the organization has to move. They set the policies that affect all the organizational members. So, the organizational levels, if putting it in a pyramid, we would have the operatives at the bottom, followed by, above which we have the first line managers, and higher up we have the middle managers, and on the top of the pyramid is the top level managers. So, let us identify these managers. As I already told you, the first line managers generally take the responsibility for directing the day-to-day activities of the operative employees. Now, the middle level managers are individuals between the first line and the top management, and of course, the top management constitutes the higher echelons of the organizational hierarchy who are engaged in taking decisions, establishing a direction for the organization, breaking the vision, mission, strategies and objectives further down, establishing the policies and ensuring that all the organizational members work towards a superordinate goal, which is a goal above goal. Mintzberg has given a classification of various managerial roles that employees perform. Rather, the managers perform. At the interpersonal role, the manager is required to act as a figurehead. He has to lead and also liaison with all the other stakeholders. In the informational role, he has to act as a monitor, he must be a disseminator of information, he must be a spokesman for the organization. And in the decisional role, he has to play the role of an entrepreneur. He has to be a disturbance handler. He has to be a resource allocator. He has to play the negotiator's role. These are the 9 roles, the classification of which was given by Mintzberg. Then your question may be about, is this manager's job universal? Yes. See, what matters is to understand what is the level in the organization, whether the organization is a profit or a non-profit organization, what is the size of the organization, and whether these management concepts would impact the economic, cultural, social and political systems within the, both within and outside of the organization. A manager's role is truly universal because you must understand that, the manager is engaged in the functions of management remains the same, that of planning, organizing, directing, controlling, all of this, these are basic essential functions and the process of managing is the same. What varies is the intensity of management, so the extent of management. So this varies with the level of the organization, whether it is a profit or a non-profit organization, the complexity of the organization in terms of its size and also in terms of its location, whether it is going across the national borders, transnational, or whether it is within the country. Next, the question is management a science or an art? Management can be considered as both science as well as art. Management is a science because of several reasons. It has universally accepted principles. It has a cause-effect relationship that is established, and at the same time it is an art because it requires perfection through practice. It requires practical knowledge, creativity and personal skills. It is management again is considered as a science because it has an organized body of knowledge which contains what we call universal truths. It is called an art because managing requires certain skills which are personal possessions of managers. It is akin to them, it is unique to them. Science provides knowledge while art deals with the application of knowledge and skills. A manager to be successful in his profession must acquire the knowledge of both science and the art of applying it. Therefore, management is a judicious blend of science as well as an art because it provides the principles and the way these principles are applied as a matter of art. Science teaches to know and art teaches to do. Then we come to the general skills for managers. Very importantly, we could look at it from 4 basic types of skills. One is the conceptual skill. When you say conceptual skill, it is the manager's mental ability to coordinate all of the organization's interests and activities. To be able to look through a path of complexity calls for conceptual skills. Interpersonal skills are those skills that a manager needs. It is his ability to work along with employees, his ability to understand, mentor, develop and motivate others both individually and in groups. So he must have sound knowledge of interpersonal dynamics, and his networking skills are very, very important. Then comes the technical skills. So technical skills primarily refers to the manager's ability to use the tools, the procedures and the techniques of a specialized field. And finally, the political skills, a manager's ability to build a power base and establish the right kind of connections. Now, these are very, very important. So, wherever there are people, there are bound to be politics, and the manager must know how to run a disturbance-free, conflict-free, create a conflict-free environment for people to work productively. So, these are about the general skills for managers. Now, let me come to some specific skills for managers. They are with respect to the behaviors related to a manager's effectiveness. Like, for example, controlling the organization's environment and its resources, having the ability to organize and coordinate. He must be able to handle information, both do environmental premising, at the same time must be very effective in disseminating information in the right platforms at the right point of time. And other specific skills for managers is to provide an environment that is congenial for growth and development of his subordinates. He must be able to motivate his employees, handle conflicts, and must be very astute in decision making and strategically be able to resolve issues. So, strategic problem solving is also another important skill. Then let me take you through some of the competencies that is required for managers. The managers must be able to initiate and implement change. They must be catalysts of change. They must work towards improving services, products and system as a team. Manager must be able to monitor and maintain and improve both product and service delivery. They must be able to monitor and control the use of resources, because they have to be effective, not only efficient but also effective. They must secure effective resource allocations for activities and projects. They must be able to recruit and select personnel, the right man for the right job at the right point of time. They must be able to develop teams, both individuals and of course also self, to enhance performance. They must have the ability to plan, allocate and evaluate the various work that is carried out by the teams. They must be able to maintain good working relationship within the departments They must seek, evaluate and organize information for action, and also exchange information to solve problems and make decisions. So of what importance is a manager in a marketplace? See, good managerial skills are a scarce commodity, and therefore organizations go all out to make sure that the managerial compensation packages are good enough for them to keep the right man at the right job. So managerial compensation packages is one measure of the value that the organization places on them. And then the management compensation reflects also the market forces of supply and demand. Now the question, why should you study management? Because you interact with the organization every day and you have vested interest in improving the way the organization has to be managed. And we know that better organizations are in part the result of good management. You also study management because you will either manage or be managed. For those who plan careers in management, understanding this process of management can act as a foundation to build on your managerial skills. Gaining an understanding of the management process gives you insight into the behavior of individuals within the organizations. And even if you do not plan to be a manager, the study of management will help you to understand the way your boss behaves and also get an insight into the internal working of the organizations. So with this, we complete the Unit 3 of Block 1 model, and whatever has been said is a skeletal framework. You need to do in-depth reading into this. Just a lecture on this will not suffice. A lot of referencing needs to be done. Thank you.